Hello.
Hello.
We're back. We are starting a cult, the podcast.
It's true. That's Grant and I'm Jake.
It happens every single Friday for the individuals out there that like to listen to this.
It does.
We appreciate you guys because, we do this for just fun, really. This is just kind of what we do.
And now, right now, it's a perfect day for podcasting. Just inside with you, buddy.
Yeah, it's just
fucking
snowing a little bit.
It's becoming dark outside.
Luckily, we're not out there on the East Coast right now, where they're getting pounded right now.
What, 50 inches of snow they're getting or something like that?
Dude, I'll tell you this. This is off topic. This is just a little intro rant here.
Yeah.
The way weather works is strange to me because, they have, the European model, then, the this model, then the that model.
All these models.
Well, I was telling them, so, yesterday I was looking on the Weather Channel app, right? And the Weather Channel was we're looking at maybe 2 inches of snow.
You're a weather fanatic, dude. You got 3 apps on your phone.
I love weather. If I could, I would be a weatherman.
I love the weather.
It's just very interesting to me. I don't know. See what happened in 4th grade. We had to do this thing where we learned how they predict the weather, and then we had to do it, and it actually worked because it was oh yeah, they just guess.
So a 4th grader can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And ever since then, I've just been very intrigued by the weather and just how it works and what goes on. But the one thing was saying it was 5 to 8 inches. The other was saying none, and the other was saying 2. And I don't know which one to believe. But we were watching a thing about the nor'easter, as they call
nor'easter.
it. I
don't celebrate Christmas nor Easter.
Nor'easter. But some models were saying, there's places that are looking at about 10 to 12 inches. And then in another model, it says 50 to 55 inches. That's a drastic difference.
One thing's for sure, something's going to happen.
It is. Right. It is. Something's going to happen. It's going to snow. So just be cool. Snow is, it's fun to look at, but then the minute you actually have to do something, it's just not fun.
Yeah. No, it's an obstacle.
It just becomes oh, this is a pain in the fucking asshole. Wish I didn't have to do this shit today. Yeah. But that's life when you live in pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
Then they're oh, we don't get snow. Everywhere's getting snow now, so how about you suck it?
Yeah, there you go.
You might only get a little bit, but it'll probably kill you. It's bad for you. You ever, I remember...
So it's a good day to be inside, is what we're saying.
This was years ago. I want to say it was Atlanta. They got 1.5 inches of snow.
They just shut down.
And the city was in shambles. People were getting in crazy accidents.
Yeah, they got no system to take care of fucking snow. There's no plows there.
Yeah, and
the salt is just strictly meant for the table.
Yeah, they didn't know what to do. It was a free for all. It's man, sometimes that shit just happens in the middle of the night. It's well, all right, fuck it, we gotta leave.
Yeah.
But
we have to evacuate.
Yeah, we are back with the part 2 of Dennis Rader.
Mr. BTK himself.
We are back with that. So today we'll be getting into more of the crimes, if you will.
A lot more of the crimes. And I found last week that, I found this week, that last week I was using a source that was not given the full story. So I'm going to make some clarifications here at the beginning. Just as I tell the story.
Completely disregard. He was never born. He's not real.
He's not even real. He's what do you mean? He's like Mickey Mouse.
Or the devil.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll ruffle
thing.
some feathers for y'all out there, but I don't know. That's just my thing. That's how I say things.
Mickey Mouse and the devil are just
Ooh.
Dennis Rader.
Before we get into that, Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, who I actually just found out that's not his wife.
No, yeah, they're twins or something.
Yeah, they're brother and sister.
Why are they all so hugging and stuff on Valentine's Day?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a little weird. But they updated Minnie's outfit. She's wearing a pantsuit now. She's looking good. She's rocking a business casual for a woman. She's rocking it. We got business casual Minnie now. The skirt has been retired.
I mean, that's fine.
There were too many upskirt camera shots from Donald Duck, and they had to do something about it.
He doesn't wear pants. He doesn't wear pants at all.
No, he puts a camera on his foot and walks around in sandals, and then he's just oh, let me reach up behind you there, Minnie. And she oh, okay, and he, puts his foot there and just yeah, get that upskirt shot, you know.
Yeah.
He's a weirdo. So she's in the pantsuit now because it was really causing some tension in their
Yeah.
relationships.
He's a known predator around the Disney world.
As Goofy.
Yeah, dude, he gets punched in the trachea so much, that's why he sounds like that.
What do you? Yeah, I was gonna say. They say it's a punch. I don't know. Maybe it's one of those other external that goes internal punches. You know what I mean?
There we go, yeah.
Mouth molestation is what I'm saying.
Probably.
Anywho,
Yeah.
somehow those are connected to Dennis Rader, but we are going to be talking about that today.
Yeah, Dennis Rader's just like Mickey Mouse and the devil.
And yeah, so today we will be covering more of the actual crimes and the sort of time in between said crimes. And then I think we've decided it'll be a part 3. Right?
Yep.
We talked about that.
Yep, he's just done too many things.
Yeah, so we will wrap this up after a third part next Friday. So
It's true.
I hope you guys like it because we're buckling down for another episode of him after today.
It's true. You're going to be hearing about Dennis.
So it is time for Jake to make those clarifications, and then we can hop right in.
There we go, yeah. I mean, they're just made kind of along the way. So
Yeah, that's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah. So we left off last week with BTK, the BTK killer, who was Dennis Rader, as we remember, having just murdered 5 people in the span of about 3 months after blending in seamlessly with his community around him for years, despite his sick sexual fantasies that he'd been having all his life as a result of really, who knows, mixed with family drama.
I'm going to say this right now, and I think as the show goes on today, specifically, you guys will get where I'm coming from. He would have 100% benefited, and I think some of his victims would have not been victims had he been around when Pornhub Premium was around.
Maybe.
I really think that, like, a lot of this was, well, I mean, I know a lot of this was sexual desire driven, and that kind of altered his state of mind in a lot of situations. And if he was just able to get access, free, easy access to some very extreme types of pornography, it might have saved some lives. So
Maybe.
in a weird way, this is an endorsement for porn.
Yeah, save the porn industry. There's they got some bad stuff, just like with anything, but maybe Dennis Raiders around the world now are not being Dennis Rader about it.
Right, and it's like, I mean, you hate to sound so cynical, but even if someone's going to kill people for reasons connected to sexuality and, sexual desire, if you can shave the number of victims down from like 5 to 2, that's still a win. It's not great, but it's a win.
No, it's true. Porn stars save lives.
So, yeah, definitely keep that in mind. Next time you're on Pornhub, there are videos that probably have saved some lives inadvertently on there. I'm just saying.
Just saying. A few things I'd like to clarify, edit, whatever, from last week's episode, which we'll do as they come up, like I said. But for the first thing that I'd like to clarify, it's a story that perhaps maybe sheds some light on where Rader's specific sexual fantasies may have started.
Ooh, okay,
right?
okay.
So, when Rader was very young, it was he and his mother at home. Okay? That was another thing. His dad was the one that worked a lot, and his mom just would watch TV and read and ignore the children.
Yeah, deadbeat mother, pretty much.
So it makes sense that he would kind of resent her a little bit. Usually leaving the duty of child duty to Rader's grandparents. And his mother would just, be there.
Reasonable.
But anyway, so they were in the house together. It was just him and her, and his mother reached into the couch cushion, probably to get the clicker for the television, maybe. Or something.
A peanut.
Or maybe a peanut was down there. Either way, she used the hand with her wedding ring on it, right?
Okay.
And it got stuck in the inner machinations of the couch. It's stuck in there.
Well, yeah, it sounds a lot more intense. I feel like it just got snagged on some fabric.
Yeah, I was getting flowery with the word there.
And it was like, here was the 2 options. You could either yank back, rip off part of the couch, possibly ruin the cushion.
Possibly get the rock fucking lost in there,
Or lose part of the ring, and that's more expensive. So it's like, you're in a rock and a hard place here. Well, you're in a rock and a soft place here.
Yeah, but it's not letting you leave.
Yeah, you're trapped. And
Her finger was trapped, and so she was trapped. She wasn't going anywhere. She panicked a little bit because she realized the situation she was in. And after a while, called for Dennis and begged him to go find help. All right?
But he couldn't help.
So picture this. she's stuck, and she's whining for help. And what does he do? He ultimately did in the end. He went for help, but he stayed there for a moment or two in the presence of this scene, right? And he just felt a joy that he had not experienced up until then. It was the joy of arousal.
Okay, now picture this, will you?
Little Oedipus going on here.
Picture this, if you will. This is an entire subgenre of porn right now on the internet. People being stuck in weird places that probably they don't need to be stuck in.
It's true. The what are you doing step, bro?
And somebody comes in and is able to take advantage of said situation. And I don't know if this is a very off topic. This is about that porn specifically. It's a bit rapey to me. I don't like it. It's
extremely rapey. I don't know how they haven't gotten in more trouble for that, because I don't think they ask for permission.
No, I don't like that.
They just do it.
But that in itself is an entire genre of the pornography industry today.
And that's what friggin' started his shit.
Yeah, so exactly like I said, if he would have found this on the internet, he could have just fucking rubbed one out like a normal kid and just went about his day.
But no.
No, he
had to be Dennis Rader.
Yeah, he had to do, ugh.
Yeah.
Just watch porn, kids.
Watch porn, it's good for you.
People might tell you it's bad for you, but you know what? It could save lives.
It could save entire families.
It really could.
Yeah. So we left off with the last murder committed by Rader in 1974, the murder of Catherine Bright. Remember that?
Yes.
Shot her brother in the face and all that. Anyway, another thing I'd like to clarify is that Catherine was not dead upon the arrival of the police. All right? Rather, she died hours later at Wegerly Medical Center. So they found her. She was like, "Oh, I'm bleeding so much," and then she died later.
That's a tough family.
It is a tough family, dude. It's crazy.
He got the 50 Cent treatment. He got a bunch of bullets lodged in him and just survived.
And he's like, "I'm still gonna save the day."
And she got stabbed like fucking a waterbed.
Yeah, 3 times in the old stomach.
And just completely fought through that shit like Abe Lincoln for hours.
Yeah. No, you're right. But in any case, Rader takes a little bit of a hiatus after this murder. Okay? Yes. He has to hone his craft. He was kind of fucking up at the beginning a little bit. But also, it was because he had just recently had his first child, Brian.
Okay.
Brian was born, which was taking up a lot of his free time. Brian's here. He's so busy. All right. So this left the city of Wichita in a bit of a panic. There were 5 unsolved murders in less than 3 months. That's pretty crazy. Out of nowhere.
That's a bit weird, I'm not going to lie.
And only to make the situation worse, and much scarier, was that the killer was leaving the police and press in letters in seemingly random locations. And that was another thing I wanted to touch on. The only reason that the letter Rader wrote to detailing the Otero family murder, the only reason that was found so quickly was because the police had taken a man into custody for the crime.
Okay.
And Dennis didn't like that. He was like, they got the wrong guy.
That man's innocent. I need to save him.
Yeah, he was like, Dennis didn't like that. It wasn't enough that he got away with the crime. He wanted the police to know he'd gotten away with the crime.
All right.
Right? And that they'd arrested the wrong man. So Rader called a local news outlet and informed them that he was the real killer of the Otero family. And to prove it, he directed them to the library to find the letter. That's why it was found.
Okay.
Right? It's also in this letter that Rader gives himself the name BTK. He wasn't given to him. He gave himself BTK.
Yeah, most of these people, you can't give yourself nicknames because they're never as good.
But
he's an outlier.
He managed to do it, yeah. He was like, I bind, torture, and kill. And then he signed off the letter BTK.
You're like, Burger the King? What does this mean? What the fuck?
Oh my god.
It's that guy.
Burger the King. It's that guy with the dead fucking plastic face.
Did you guys
coming up like appearing in windows?
Comedy injection here. You guys, I don't know if you guys remember this. This was like a weird childhood memory of mine, but it was like a Burger King commercial where this guy's like talking to the cops, right? And he's like, yeah, he's about 6 foot tall. He's wearing a crown. He's going around putting money in people's pockets.
He's like, there he is. And then he just starts running away.
And he gets hit by a car, and the cab driver gets out. He's like, oh my god, are you okay? And he just shoves like $5 in his back pocket. He's like, hey, wait a minute. That was like the best commercial I've ever seen.
That was the greatest fucking advertisement cycle
He's
I've ever
saving
seen.
you
Dude,
money.
His commercials were amazing.
Oh.
Now it's kind of Taco Bell. Taco Bell's taking like the the weird approach.
Yeah, Taco
the
Bell's
cinematic
weird.
approach.
I'll be honest, though. I've never actually had Taco Bell and felt good about that decision.
No, of course not. It's something you do when you're just not feeling good.
Like, don't
and you're
get
just
me
like,
wrong.
maybe I can let's see how far I can take this feeling.
Here's my Taco Bell stories. It's like, I haven't had diarrhea in a couple months. So let's eat some Taco Bell.
Yeah.
That's like what it is.
It's a cleanser of sorts.
Yeah, that's my colon
You know?
cleanse. Is just a couple tacos and one of those chicken quesadillas.
There you go. Well, Rader gave himself the name BTK, right? He signed a letter with it. So he's arrogant. He's murderous. He's horny. And he's just blending in, raising Brian. All right? That's his life right now. His fantasy life took a little back burner to his new job as an ADT security systems advisor.
Nice. I didn't even realize that company was that old.
Right?
You know?
This is the perfect job for him.
That is a good job.
For what he wants to do, literally the perfect job, right? Until he decides to return to his misdeeds. He's going into homes, he's familiarizing himself with the layout, learning how security systems work, and business was probably fucking booming because of the recent uptick in unsolved murders.
Yeah.
That both started with home invasion.
Yeah, it's pretty much, he's performing like insider trading in his own market. You know?
He's pulling a fucking, that woman who likes Snoop Dogg now, Martha Stewart.
Yeah, she was a patsy, though. I feel bad. She was a patsy.
Yeah.
It's like that bitch, I don't know what her name is.
She did her time like a boss, though.
No, that wasn't insider trading. The chick that was like bribing colleges or something to get her daughter into school.
The Full House chick.
Yeah.
Jesse's lady.
Was she married to like William H. Macy or something? Wasn't that like something that happened?
I don't care.
I don't know. All I know is that whatever. Fuck
I don't know, man.
Who cares?
But anyway, yeah, he's going into houses. He's got a crazy good job for his murdering. So, regardless, this was Rader's cooling off period, right? So it lasted just shy of 3 years before one day, Rader decided that it was time again for his shenanigans.
What's that restaurant you like with all that tacky shit on the wall? Shenanigans?
Oh, it was Bennigan's. Bennigan's is what we're thinking of.
No, that was from Super Troopers.
No, yeah.
It's like, what are you talking about? Shenanigans?
Shenanigans? Well, there were some shenanigans, and they happened on March 17th of 1977, when Rader walked by a home of one Shirley Ruth Vian Relford.
What a fucking name.
A lot of names in this person's title. She was a 24-year-old mother of 3, all of which were younger than 8 years old, okay?
I mean, I'd hope so.
Yeah.
Like, she has a 19-year-old daughter. Like, wait, what the fuck?
So her daughter is 74.
Okay, then.
But
sure.
The children were outside playing, in the yard. And Rader approached them with a photograph of a woman.
Look at this photograph. He just walks up singing that.
That's probably what inspired Nickelback.
He was way ahead of his time. No one knew what it would be.
Yeah, but no, he's like, this is my wife. Have you seen her? You gotta help me, kids. And when the children said no, Rader asked if their mother was home. Classic.
But anyways, my wife's gone. Do you guys got a mom? Because I need a wife.
let me see her. So yeah, they said yes. They was like, yeah, you can come on in to see our mom. Rader went up to the door, and when Shirley answered, he forced his way into the house, like you do.
Smart.
Yeah. Once in, he physically overpowered Shirley and began choking her with the rope. So
Nice.
It's just right, just immediate.
That's sort of binding and torturing in a very small way.
It is, yeah. The killing is to come, right? So
Exactly.
This caused the children to freak out and start screaming, rightfully, I'd say. And so after he had choked Shirley unconscious, Rader, so she's not dead yet, but
learned
she's
his
unconscious.
lesson last time, You don't leave them when they stop breathing because they're not dead yet.
No, yeah, he's getting a better feel for this. But, so he choked her unconscious, and then Rader put all 3 children in the bathroom after throwing a bunch of toys in after them, just tossing toys in. He tied the door shut.
That's like what we do with our dog. Like when he leaves, I'm like,
yeah, that's what we do with Navi when he won't shut up while we're recording.
Here, go in your room and play with your toys. We'll be done.
And he still freaks out, much like these children. So he then returned to Shirley to finish the jab. And he did. Rader strangled her with rope until he was sure that she was dead. And when she was dead, he bound her body face down on the bed.
Okay.
Okay, all the while through the door. Somehow, I don't know, this is just what I heard, maybe like through the keyhole, or maybe the door wasn't tied like completely shut to where you can open it to a certain degree or something. But Shirley's oldest son witnessed the entire process.
Okay.
Through the door.
That's not a great thing to witness.
Not at all.
That'll cause some therapy for that guy's future, I'll tell you that.
I would hope so, or else he's just going to be like Dennis.
Or Pornhub Premium.
Maybe Pornhub Premium. So, police found her bound and face down on the bed with semen in her hair.
It's not funny.
It's not funny, but semen in the hair is always funny.
It's just so, like, childish almost, you know? I don't know. I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, it's the childish version of just spitting on someone in disrespect.
Look at there's cum in your hair. Yay. It's
I'm going to call you Cummy now.
Dude, this is not right. You know what I don't get? I mean, I know this was back then, so it probably wasn't as, like, intense as it is today. But I would be afraid to leave any form of DNA, and cum is quite literally DNA.
Yeah, so that's another thing we'll get to a little later, but the police had no use of DNA or fingerprints.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
I figured
kind
as
of
much.
a damning situation.
So you can just come anywhere you want. No one,
You just come anywhere.
You could be the phantom comer, dude. No one's going to stop you. They don't know who you are.
Yeah, you just coming all day. All three of the children were unharmed physically, because emotionally I think they may have been ruined. But and they confirmed to the police that they were indeed looking for a Caucasian man.
Okay.
It's a white guy, is what they said. And the police were getting pissed at this point. They were dealing with a killer, selecting people seemingly at random, and he was coming on them after he killed them. And it was just in the middle of the daylight hours, and their only lead was that he's a white guy.
Yeah, it doesn't really help. It might narrow it down like very minimally, but it certainly doesn't help.
You do not have to go too far in Wichita, Kansas to find a white boy.
Yeah, no, they're like there's
Okay,
one
like,
of 300,000 right here, then there's one of billions in the world.
Yeah,
so what do we do here?
So it's a bad situation for the police, and because Rader had given himself that catchy ass name for the press, BTK. They were like all eyes were on the police because the name was being printed everywhere. Okay. Everyone in Wichita knew the name BTK, and they knew that the police hadn't gotten him.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
So it sucks for them.
A little bit. I mean,
a little bit.
It's not a great spot to be in, but it's they're looking for the phantom comer here, so they got to figure this out.
They call me Phantom Cum.
They got to figure it out.
Yeah. That seems like someone who has had a vasectomy, Phantom Cum.
Well, no, I don't know this, but I feel like I should know this.
I feel like it gets rid of the goo.
I don't know if it does, though. I feel like you could still cum. I feel like it's just not, like, fertilized.
We're going to have to look this up. We're going to have to look
looking it up.
Look it up right now. I'm going to keep going. You just tell me about the cum when you figure it out. After 9 months later, after this, because, the police, they were just like, oh, I don't know. About 9 months later, on December 8th of 1977, BTK strikes again. All right? And this time, the victim is Nancy Jo Fox. She was another one of Rader's projects.
Okay, I'm going to interject here.
With cum?
Yeah, so this is a little lesson in the male anatomy for you guys, okay? Cum, well, okay, I'm not going to say cum because that's not scientific. Sperm and semen are two different things. So semen is the ejaculate, the white goo that comes out, and sperm are the little things inside of the semen that contain the fertilization,
The worms that make kids.
So when you have a vasectomy, you still ejaculate semen, but it is no longer fertilized, so there's no sperm in the semen.
Oh, it's just like Elmer's glue.
So it doesn't eliminate any vasectomy patients either, because you could still ejaculate. It's just not fertile.
That is good to know, honestly. No, that's good. All right, cool. Well, Nancy Jo Fox was murdered 9 months after who was her name? It was like four things. Shirley Ruth V. and Relford. It was after her. It was 9 months after her.
Dr. Queen Elizabeth Shaquille O'Neal II.
There we go. He strikes again. Nancy Jo Fox. She was another one of Rader's projects. She was 25 years old with a career working at a jewelry store. And she lived alone.
Oh, that's prime pickings.
It's prime pickings for this guy. He'd seen her around town and began following her. He learned the ins and outs of her routine, his whole thing. where she worked, and even drove by her house and looked in her mailbox so he could know her name.
Pretty sure that's a federal crime.
It is. You can't tamper with the mail.
Yeah, that's federal crime.
That's the biggest crime he's committed so far.
I mean, it's not, but it's definitely the one that could put him behind bars.
There you go.
It's like Al Capone, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's the one they're going to get him
Tax
on.
evasion, yeah. You can't do that.
It's the perfect crime
Yeah.
until somebody sees you doing it. That's not cool beans.
It's not cool beans. It's hot beans right there.
It's bad
beans.
news.
Oh.
Be nice.
Okay. Bean ice.
Yes.
All right. So bean ice. That's disgusting. He in later interviews, he said that the more that he felt he knew a person, the more comfortable he was going ahead with the murder.
And see, it's funny because that's almost the opposite of a lot of situations.
Yeah,
It's
a lot
like,
of people, it's like you want to dehumanize them to the point where you can murder them. But
Right.
this guy's like, I want to know everything before I take it all away.
And yeah, basic human psychology would show that once you actually form a bond and know that person, or even small details about their life, it would make it harder to do things like that. But this guy's the opposite. He's living in opposite land.
Yeah, it's his thing. It's his thing. So, on December 8th, Nancy returned home from work, only to immediately be attacked from behind. All right, Rader was already in her home at this point. He snuck up behind her, placed a bag around her head, and strangled her with a belt this time.
Ooh.
Yeah. He then bound her body and came onto, either way, a negligee that belonged to Nancy. It wasn't on her. That's very important. It was just in her house, and he came on it, and then he placed it by her head.
Here you go.
Nice crown for Nancy Joe Fox. So, he bound her and all that stuff. He put a cum rag by her head. It was a negligee. And because she lived alone, Rader knew that it would be a while until she was discovered. So, the day after, the murder, 911 operators received an anonymous call from a payphone. The caller, who was Rader, said that they would find a dead body at 843 South Parrish Street, and then even gave Nancy's full name.
Okay.
So after the police traced the phone call to the payphone, they actually had witnesses that saw Rader make this call, confirming again that he was a Caucasian male in his 30s. Now they have a roughly like an age range. So that's,
Okay, so now they're chipping it down a little
away,
bit more. They're getting there.
There was no DNA evidence nor fingerprints. Like I said, the police are 7 deaths in and have little to no leads. It's not looking good for the police here.
No, it is not. It's
No,
bad
it's
news.
not. Yeah, okay.
We got bad news bears coming for these people.
Bad news
okay?
beans, be nice. All right. So, on February 10th of 1978, roughly 2 months after the murder, a newspaper in Wichita called the Wichita Eagle receives a letter from BTK. He loves letters. All right.
Loves them. Absolutely loves them.
Loves the mail. The letter detailed all 7 murders and asked the question, how many people do I have to kill for my name to be in the paper?
I mean, realistically, just one if they knew you.
Usually, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they were like trying to keep it at bay to a certain degree because he did name himself and give it to the press. And it's like, maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah, maybe they're
break
like,
this,
let's be cool about
at
this.
least for a while. But everyone knew the killings were happening. Everyone knew that there were letters. Who knows, man? But I guess they're going to print his name after a while. Rader is desperate for more media attention, and he's taunting the police to the extent that he's literally telling them on the phone where they can find victims.
Okay.
Kind of insane. Rader is getting, confident. He's getting cocky. Also included in the letter was him blaming his urge to kill on something he called Factor X, which sounds like the thing the professor added to the Powerpuff Girls in the Powerpuff Girls show.
I'm going to say, it sounds like something in like a video game. Like they're like, you use the Factor X. And then it's like you have some superpower or something. Or it's like, oh, you beat the game. There you go.
Oh, it was Chemical X in Powerpuff Girls. The professor's fucking it all up.
Damn it.
Yeah, right. Well, but, in BTK's eyes, it was the Chemical X, or no, fuck. Now I'm saying Chemical X. It's Factor X to Mr. Rader. it was the monster that he couldn't stop, and it drove him to kill, is what he said.
Okay.
Right? It got to the point in the police investigation. It got to the point because they could find no commonalities in the victims in any sense, that they simply released a public announcement that there was a serial killer in their midst. They're just like,
here.
there's a killer. We can't find either. You just have to be so careful. And the police needed any sort of help finding the person that they could get. And in the meantime, the community needed to be hyper aware of the fact that they were pretty much constantly in danger.
So just a nonstop
Never is
danger.
there a moment you're not in danger, Wichita.
Little did they know that the ADT man is the one doing all the crimes.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a perfect job.
It really is. That's smart.
Yeah. And it was in 1978 that Rader's second child was born. Carrie. Carrie's here now.
Carrie Underwood?
Yes.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
What
I never
a weird
knew that.
world.
And he then went silent when it came to committing crimes and communicating with the police and the public. And it lasted for 8 years.
See, and that's another...
Just disappears for 8 years.
That's a crazy, impressive feat, because it's like, in the world of the people looking for the killer, they probably don't understand what's going on. They're thinking either he's dead or he went somewhere else. Their investigation probably is still going, but it's just dried up. They don't know what to do.
8 years, it's like, oh, maybe... Because that was something that they thought happened. Is like, after the crime stopped and they continued to not resurface, they were just like, maybe he got incarcerated for another crime or something.
Yeah,
that's like what they thought. And then the evidence that they had obtained was little to nothing when it came to drawing actual conclusions. So for a while, the Wichita police, though hesitant to do so, were able to kind of sigh in relief.
Yeah, it's weird to me because not even talking about him yet, it's just a wide birth of time. How would you process that as someone trying to capture someone like this? Especially in this time period where the age of hunting the serial killer, it was still kind of being formatted as to what to look for and the commonality, things
and
that.
They were looking for everything that they knew to look for, but there was no connection. They were literally looking at the grocery stores all these people went to, their barbers, just where they went in town to see if they could link anything that way, what kind of car they drove, that kind of thing.
Right.
But there was nothing.
And to speak on Dennis Rader's behalf, that's insane too, because you'd think as, you commit a crime, then there's usually a little bit of a wait period because it's hard to get into that mindset, so I can't speak for certain. But, you're waiting a little bit. You want to see what unfolds, what they're able to uncover as far as the detectives go and things like that. And then, you might strike again, and it's it gets a little bit easier. You think it would kind of go quicker. But no, he's strike again, take a break for a damn near a decade. A decade
Almost
long
a decade. He's got to raise his kids. He's got to keep up his appearances at church. He went to Lutheran church every week, too.
And yeah,
he was super normal.
It makes it for a very intriguing crime because clearly it's not something that's driving his life, but it's just something. It's something he wants and likes to do, but he knows that there's things that take priority above that.
Yeah, like I said in the first episode, he's like, I've always wanted to do this. It's not like I've always had to do this. I have these urges that I need to fulfill. It's just, I've always wanted to do this.
Yeah, it's a hobby for him.
It's a desire. It's not a need.
And it's almost more evil that way. 'Cause it's just fuck it. Today's the day. We're going.
It's his trip to the fucking ice cream store. It's the shop.
Yeah, that's me getting Fazoli's. It's man, it's been so long. Let me get some Fazoli's.
Let's get some Fazol in here.
And fucking my Fazoli's is his murdering of women.
My Fazoli's.
Copyright law.
Oh, yeah. Well, Rader was able to sustain his sexual urges through memory and trophies that he'd taken, such as pictures, because he was taking some pictures, all right? He was taking some pictures of these bound women.
Why not?
It makes sense. I mean, it kind of makes sense to hear that after hearing that he would bind them after he would kill them.
Yeah,
you know. So yeah, he had trophies, he had memories, and he was good for 8 years.
Damn.
Long time. And his urges weren't just gonna go away though, because he's a weak man in a lot of senses.
He's like the strongest weak man in the world. Like the strongest.
It's a title, not a very impressive title, but it's a title.
Yeah, this dude he's all over the fucking map. You don't know what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, this being said, on April 27th of 1985, midway through the 80s,
Yeah.
he waited until.
The cocaine-fueled Wall Street 80s.
Yeah. I just watched Wolf of Wall Street for the first time the other day.
Really?
Those guys are crazy.
They are. I'll tell you this.
What a crazy profession.
Unpopular opinion. It wasn't a bad movie, but I definitely don't think it was like one of the greatest. It was just like, okay.
No, it was just like debauchery, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, look how debaucherous."
Yeah, it was like, all right, it's a movie. It's not like bad, I guess, but it's certainly not like you have to see this movie.
It's like it's so goddamn long.
And honestly,
I liked it. It was good.
If you've ever met somebody that says that's their favorite movie, they're typically insufferable.
It's like they're insane.
Yeah, they're typically like, okay, buddy,
Utterly insane.
We know that you own like 1/fraction of a billionth of a Bitcoin, and you're into the stock trade. We get it, buddy.
We get it. We understand.
Good for you, man. I
We
also have
fucking
underwear
get it.
that are worth $8, so we're about in the same boat here.
We're about to sharten them.
Yeah, I could do that and just buy new ones because I don't worry about fucking Bitcoin prices.
It's true. Well, again, like I said, April 27th, mid-80s, 85. Okay, Raider returns to his old ways with someone named Marine Wallace Hedge.
Marine Walrus Hedge.
Yeah. She was 53 years old, and she was recently widowed, and she was a mother of 4 and a grandmother.
Okay.
She lives 6 doors down from Dennis Rader.
Okay, well, that's close to
Very
home.
close, very close to home. The two are like friendly, but not like close.
Yeah,
that's too far to be like super close with your neighbors unless you knew them like ahead of time.
Yeah, but it's like, you're outside and they drive by or vice versa. It's like, you give a little wave like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah. Well, Raider one day just decided that she was going to be the next victim. After 8 years. All right?
She's like, this walrus bitch.
Like, I'm going to get her, is what he said. Much like with, many neighborhoods, the houses in Raider's neighborhood were more or less laid out in the same way. Like the same design,
Okay.
So Raider was able to plan his attack with minimal scouting effort. Minimal. On April 27th, 1985, Raider invaded Marine's home when she wasn't there, waiting until she fell asleep. So she got home. He was still in the house. He waited until she did everything that she needed to do for the night and then went to bed.
Okay.
And then he proceeded to strangle her in her bed.
Smart move.
Right? Now, we'd see now that he's got this kind of down to a science. Right? He's entering unnoticed. He's waiting for the opportunity. He's striking to kill. It's masterful.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a good way, but it is. And that was another thing I don't think I even put in the notes. For his first couple murders, he actually cut the phone lines before he did it.
That's smart. That's criminal.
Which I was like, all right, that's more prepared than I thought he would be. I don't know if he did it for Marine, but
that's so outdated now because it's like you can't unless you climb one of those towers and just cut the entire Verizon or T-Mobile network offline.
Yeah.
But that's got to be some type of felony level crime now.
Yeah. Well, on top of kind of being on top of everything going on in what he wanted to do, he was also kind of changing his MO to satisfy his fantasies.
Okay.
Because once Marine was dead, he drove her body to the Lutheran church that his family attended every week because they were, a good, normal, God-fearing family.
Right.
And that's where he had his fun, all right? So he tied her up once he got there, and he took multiple photos of her dead body in different positions of bondage, right?
Okay.
He found a nearby ditch, and then he dropped her in there.
Nice.
Yeah, and it took several days for people to find her.
Smart move,
I don't know how smart it is. I really don't know, Grant. So, yeah, she's in a ditch after being calmed down. I assume he came. Because that wasn't mentioned, but I assume he also came on her.
It's only the fairest assumption there is.
Yeah, this guy comes all the time. Now, this MO was very different from the BTK killer, who'd gone silent about 8 years beforehand, so no one suspected that this was BTK. They were just like, oh, God, another one of these kinds of things.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez. Well, because it was so close, it was just a few doors down, Rader's daughter, Carrie, was, like, super fucking scared.
Oh, I would be too.
Understandably so. It's like one of our neighbors just appeared in a ditch, all tied up with cum.
Yeah,
Doesn't that suck?
I'd be petrified if that happened. I would even fit his prototype of who he's going for, and I'd still be like, I'm very uneasy about this.
Yeah. Well, Rader, he knew what was up. He was pretty much the only person who knew what was up, so he assured her with a lot of confidence that she was very safe and that he would protect her.
Oh, well, that's good.
He's being a good dad.
I will stop this phantom comer. He will not get near you, I promise you.
I promise. His compartmentalization of his, crime life and his family life was fucking astounding.
No, it really was. It's unmatched.
No one suspected, and it was insane. Even after 8 years. And he could pull it off because for the police, there was absolutely no connection to the murders of one another. Again. And that was on purpose, because BTK is doing like high IQ murder.
Perfect.
And for ultimately, it just worked for him. It was only 1 year later that he would again strike. Okay, and this was Vicky Lynn Wegerly.
Oh.
I think. I don't know, it's Wegerle. Wegerly, I think.
I like
and
that
she's got
name.
the same middle name as him.
Wegerly.
It's Lynn. Isn't that nice? Vicky Lynn. They're connected.
Vicky Lynn.
Wow. Well, she was a 28-year-old mother of two and a pianist. She played the piano. She had a couple kids. She was 28.
That's impressive.
Yeah, cool. On September 16th of 1986, she answered the door to Dennis Rader. And he was claiming to be an AT&T technician.
Changing the job title.
He had the get-up. He had the vest that glue in the dark.
Did he have the little like booty covers that they put on, like around their shoes?
I would hope so.
That's
at least it have
detail.
some sort of decency.
If anybody like that ever comes to the house and they're not wearing like they look like the little caps that like surgeons wear for their feet. If they don't have that, don't trust them because they're not part of the company.
It's true. They're not part of the company. The company insists that they do that.
Exactly.
They don't want to pay for any more carpet cleaning, okay?
Exactly.
AT&T has paid for more carpet cleaning than carpet cleaning services.
Honestly, you're probably not incorrect about that.
They started their own branch of carpet cleaners, and then they were like, we could just put these things on our feet.
No.
I don't know, man.
That is not the case.
Vicky Lynn Wegerly. There wasn't much detail on like how it actually happened for this one that I could find.
I'm assuming he binded her, tortured her, and probably killed her. Maybe not in that order.
No, yeah, all those things were definitely present. She let him into the house after he came, as an AT&T technician. She let him into the house, and then she was later found dead by the police.
Okay.
Blood and skin fragments under her fingernails led the police to believe that she was able to kind of scratch him.
During a little scrappage.
During the old altercation there. But again, lack of DNA evidence, or the ability to use DNA evidence left the police with their dicks in their hands.
Yeah, they're like, ooh, it'd be nice if we had these capabilities, but sorry.
Yeah. Wasn't in the cards. Vicky's 2-year-old son was in the house at the time, and he was also unharmed.
Well, that's nice.
See, he doesn't fuck around with kids, so that's respectable.
In a weird way, yeah. In a weird enough way.
Nice. He did kill those 2 kids at the beginning, though.
Yeah, he was new. He was learning.
He's learning. But again, the police are leadless and unable to make progress with the BTK case. And it's at this point that BTK takes another hiatus from murder.
Ooh.
Okay, he's taking another break there. Rader was busy with family life, church, his career. For a time, at least, he got it out of his system, it seemed.
Okay.
Right? But humans are creatures of habit, right? You're a creature of habit, so am I.
Yeah, everybody is.
Of course. He returns to the worst of himself, okay, later on. However, this would take place 5 years later this time.
Another gap.
And it would ultimately end up being his last murder, which is where we'll pick up the story next week.
Yes. How about that, guys? So we're
fucking terrifying.
We got some murdering spree action going on.
He's just
going,
and then he's just stopping. And then he just decides to do it again.
Yeah, so this is where I find it to be strange. I mean, not strange, interesting. Because the ability to pause just your crime life and just be able to, like, go about your day. But it never left him, you know?
No, he still had all the urges. He had a fucking system that he
really
worked out
did.
for himself. He was workshopping a system in real time, and it involved taking people's lives each time he was trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, that's fucking...
And it worked.
It's weird, because it's almost hard to believe that you could get away with something like that for so long. But I guess, you know, if you're doing it in a certain way and, like, you know, I feel like here's my thing, the even scarier part. That 8-year gap was big enough to where when he came back and did another murder, you might not even immediately connect it back to the original crime that they're looking into, you know?
No, and they didn't. And I'm pretty sure he probably changed his MO how he did, taking her to, like, the church, you know, and doing it there and then dumping her body.
Right.
He probably did that on purpose just in case.
And yeah, it's interesting because so that shifts. Had he not returned back 5 years later to the situation where Rue will be in next week,
yeah, that's where we're starting.
Chances are he probably would have never been caught.
Probably not.
I don't think he ever would have been because we would have just assumed that the dude is either dead or incarcerated or it was like a team effort and the team disbanded. I don't know what we'd be thinking specifically.
Yeah.
But you definitely probably wouldn't pin it on one guy just like like a fucking murder cicada just like coming back to like, oh, I'm going to do this. All right, I'll be gone. See me later.
Yeah.
And just completely disappears off the face of the planet, lives his life all normally, comes back and does it again and just continues this process.
Yeah, for a couple months he's everywhere. Then he's burying himself in family life.
So it really is scary that he probably would have gotten away with it. But
I don't know. Like, with like the progression of science and that kind of thing, use of DNA and that kind of evidence. Maybe
that is true.
Maybe they kept vials of the crusty cum in the hair.
They very could have.
They could have, and maybe cleaned her fingernails, got that little flesh in there.
Yeah, they very well could have. Nobody,
Who knows?
We'll never know. Obviously, we do know that he was captured. I mean, I hope that didn't spoil anything, but
I think I said that at the beginning. I was like, he's still alive.
Yeah, we're talking about a guy that did get caught eventually. Now, eventually, we don't want to tell you when yet, but it's a lot more recent than you might think. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, in our lifetime.
And here's my guess.
Man.
Here's my guess. If you're old enough to be listening to this show, you were alive when he got caught.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say. I'll say that. But yeah, he's a really interesting case because the ability to elude the police for so long is just, it's impressive is what, I mean, like, not in that way, but there's no other word to use, you know?
Yeah, there hasn't been like a criminal so prolific and going so long without being caught since Cosby.
Well, yeah, that's a fair point. Cosby, he was a diddler. That's a whole other situation. He's a diddler.
Was it like 60 years that guy was active?
Yeah, something like that.
And meanwhile, everyone was just calling him America's dad.
Yeah, that it is.
Makes you shiver.
He's a strange situation for me because it's like, I mean, I guess the media was, and we're getting off topic here, but that's okay.
Bill Cosby sucks.
It's weird. It's weird to me because I wonder if, like, in the 80s and 90s, like, after it had happened, if there were, like, rumblings of this, and he was just simply too famous for anyone to take it seriously. Because I feel like there almost had to be.
A lot of people didn't give a shit until very recently about sexual crimes committed by celebrities.
Yeah, that probably plays a major role in it as well.
It's a very recent thing that people gave a fuck about rape victims.
Yeah, that's a valid point. And it's interesting because it's like, I mean, I wasn't around. And obviously, I wasn't like a Hollywood fucking guy bouncing around and all over there.
Yeah.
But I can imagine that there had to be people talking about that at least a little bit.
Yeah, I think a lot of these things that come out like to the public eye, like a lot of people in Hollywood know about months before. You know?
Well, I'm saying even like years. Like I'm thinking like they had knowledge, or at least there were rumblings of Bill Cosby back when it happened.
Yeah, it's like,
know?
hey, we're going to Cosby's house for the film opening party or whatever. Just keep an eye on your drink.
Yeah, like
You know?
I would almost bet that did happen, but it was just, nobody knew, and there was no proof, and he was just way too big. It was a culmination of a lot of things that led to that not coming out till years later.
Yeah.
But off topic of that,
Yeah, BTK, it took him a fucking while to get caught.
it really did.
And even after his last murder, it took him years after that, which we'll get into next week. But still, it's like, come on, this is fucking crazy.
It's very wild. But yeah, so you guys, the listeners out there, you guys chew on these ones in part 1 and part 2.
Chew on these brutal murders.
Yeah, it's the murder episodes tend to go a little bit on the shorter side, and I feel like that it naturally works because it's like. Now, I mean, I'm speaking for myself. Don't get me wrong. I like a good true crime. Like, I love it. But when all you hear about is brutal crimes, it tends to take a toll on you just mentally.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, like, this guy tortured in that he choked people, and they would come back, and he would choke them again. And, like, he loved them begging for their lives. But Bob Berdella, you remember that guy doing shit?
Oh, yeah.
That was some insane-ass torture, and that made me feel weird so bad.
I would still say Bob Berdella cannot hold a candle to, what's his name, David Parker Ray, the toy box killer.
Not at all, dude. David Parker Ray is possibly the worst thing that we've covered.
Yeah, that was
go back and listen to that.
That was one of the more aggressive episodes I think ever.
Good Lord. And we didn't even know fully what we were doing back then. We were just like, let's just talk about this. But it's still like our most brutal episode.
Yeah, it really is. It's fucking dark as hell.
There's dogs involved. There's he wanted to keep him alive.
There's
it's crazy.
Vivid descriptions of what I believe it was a German Shepherd, of what a German Shepherd's erection looks like and feels like inside of the human anus.
Yeah, it's a baseball. I think we could wrap up the episode.
Yeah,
eh?
I think it's a little like we said. It's a little bit shorter, but you know what? For you guys, I think it's the best thing to do because
we need to parcel this out.
We don't want to sit here and dump murders on you guys and have it be this thing. Sure, he gets caught. There's a decent enough ending, but it doesn't make it a happy one.
No, all these people are dead. Yeah.
But that is part 2 of BTK.
Part 2 of BTK. After all these terrible things being said, you want to say that good thing that's happening to you soon?
What? Oh, yeah.
What?
I keep forgetting, but
you keep forgetting?
We'll pepper in some decent news for the family out there. For the We Are Starting a Cult family, I will be getting married. How about that?
How about that? He went to Jared. It was fucking awesome. Look at the size of these rocks on this ring.
It's fucking crazy.
Man, you are to be wed.
Think about that. There's some decent news in the murdering news. How about that?
Yeah, some families are getting annihilated. Some are forming.
Some are beginning. So we're starting a cult. We are starting a cult. It's not we're starting a cult. That's a different
Grant is
situation.
actively extending the cult. I mean, you're making more people part of your family.
Absolutely. We have to extend it. We have to create the cult.
Yeah.
We got to get it worldwide. We have to take over the universe.
All for the sake of the cult.
All for the sake of just us talking to you guys for about an hour a week and giving you some entertainment. How about that? That's what our cult's all about.
Yeah, finding the Gulan given to us by the almighty Gomex.
Yes, it's the perfect scenario for everybody that I know.
We're going to find that sauce.
Dude, I'm getting closer. Chick-fil-A's honey mustard is up there.
Oh, it might be pretty close.
Chick-fil-A's honey mustard is near the top.
We have to mix that with a hollandaise, is I think what you wanted.
Yeah, it was something about. I remember that.
You really liked hollandaise on that episode.
I did because it was just interesting.
It's the underdog.
It is. It's the sauce that people forget. It's the breakfast sauce, and find me another sauce that's strictly a one meal sauce other than like salad dressings that aren't ranch, Like a one meal sauce, like
Blue cheese.
What was that?
Blue cheese.
Oh, you could put blue cheese in an omelet.
And on wings.
Exactly. So it's not a one meal dish, but
Oh,
hollandaise.
you're right. I got it mixed up in my head.
No one's dipping their fucking pork chops in hollandaise sauce. I don't think.
What's Worcestershire for?
I couldn't tell you.
I put it on meats, and I'm like, this is pretty all right. And then I don't know, like, is it just for dipping? Is it used as an ingredient?
I couldn't tell you. I don't even want to know.
How the fuck do you even say it?
That shit should be illegal for all I know.
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. You're the Worcestershire.
You're the Worptonshire.
You're the worst, I'm sure. I don't know.
We love you guys very, very much.
It's true. BTK is still out there killing in this point of the story, and you know what? Be safe. Grant's gonna have a family now. We're gonna make the show still.
Yes, we are.
We are starting a cult. You're a part of it. We love you. There's a link below for the Patreon. You can follow us on all the shit, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And we have an email, startacult@gmail.com, and YouTube. Go there and comment and say things and watch the videos that are just the audio.
Absolutely.
And subscribe and like and all that stuff. What else is there?
I think that's
what else
about
is
it.
All right. Well, BTK is coming back at you to end next week.
Yes. We love you guys. Goodbye.
We do love you guys.